Welcome to Special Stage and welcome to the 2019 Legend Fires Northwest Stages. The 21st running of this rally sees closed public roads used for the first time. And indeed the first time that closed roads have been used for rallying in the northwest of England, full stop. So much excitement, so much anticipation and build-up on the lead up to this event. And what a gap year it was in 2018. Of course, the last time the rally ran was in Blackpool in 2017. This year, the base is Garstang, Myerscough College, big supporters of the event over the years, and this year it's the central hub for the rally. 12 stages, 50 competitive miles, over 600 marshals, and so much work from so many people to get to this point. So let's get the action underway on the stages and let's see what this fantastic closed road rallying has got in store for us. So 2017 winner Aaron Newbie leads the cruiserway ahead of a capacity and high-profile entry. No less than 6 previous winners of the Northwest Stages ready to do battle. Before the action got underway on the stages, the crews took to the streets of Garstang on the Friday evening for action of a very different kind, but just as important, the ceremonial start. And we caught up with a few of the crews in the busy town centre for their views ahead of this historic event. Winner last time out then, Aaron Newbie returns to defend his crown, 2 years after lifting the silverware under the bright lights of Blackpool.
I think to be seeded car one on this, first closed road event in the Northwest, absolutely unreal. And the atmosphere here now, crazy. But no, I'm proper looking forward to this one.
5-time winner of the event, Steve Simpson, is back to try and make it 6. And he's been busy getting up to speed in that Fiesta.
Yeah, I did the stages this morning, did the recce, get one pass over him. The stages look fantastic, look great. So, could do with, an early push, I think, to try and get somewhere. You know us, we're not come to come second, we come here to win. So.
And Legend Fire's very own John Stone will be looking to clinch victory on home turf, if only to prove he's as quick as he is handsome. His words, not mine.
It's fantastic, fantastic. I couldn't wish for anything better, really. I thought we'd get a few people here, but this is incredible. This is as big as Ireland, isn't it, really? It's fantastic. Super to see. Great credit to Garstang Council, as well as all the organisers of the Legend Fires Northwest Stages. But yeah, fantastic. Really proud.
So on to the stages we go then, and have we been looking forward to this? 3 closed road stages make up the loop, with a run around the familiar Wheaton stage before service, a loop that will be run 3 times in total throughout the day. 12 stages, a grueling task ahead then for our competitors. On to the first of those loops, and we would see an early lead for Peter Taylor and Andrew Roughhead, reaching the end of stage 4 with a slim but welcomed 9-second lead in the rally. That lead had been far from theirs from the start of the day though. In fact, the first 3 stages would be led by this man, Simon Bowen, Richard Robinson alongside, winners of the recent Questmead stages, where the pair got some seat time in the car ahead of this event. They called that a test, by the way, and what a test it was. Sadly, that lead today though would soon turn into 16th place overall after some time lost in Wheaton. Second position on the leaderboard at this stage would be Alex Laughy and Stewart Loudon, last year's British Rally Championship runners-up, out on the rally between current BRC commitments and really showing that they had the pace to be up there fighting for the top of these results. Steve Simpson and Patrick Walsh made no secret of their intentions this weekend. Certainly not here to make up the numbers. They'd be looking to make it win number 7. They end the morning loop on an identical time to Laughy. A bullish Simpson 9 seconds back from the lead. For Neil Simpson and Michael Gibson, it would be 4th. The Skoda pair would be picking up the pace as the morning went on. They end stage 4 with 5 seconds to catch up those podium places up ahead. Just a few seconds back would be Paul McKinnon and Paul Beaton, out this weekend in a Fiesta WRC and hoping to put the well-capable car on the top step of that podium. For now though, it would be 5th. Some consistent times over the morning stages, but at the moment it was speed over consistency that was winning. For 2017 winner Aaron Newbie and Andrew Leeds this time, it will be 6th. Clearly not where they wanted to be at this stage, but they were under no illusion that victory this year wasn't going to be easy with the quality of entry that we're seeing. It wasn't, of course, going to stop them trying, though, as is visible in this loop. Going into the next loop of stages, they had it all to work for.
Small jump, 150 over bumps.
For Kev Proctor and Dave Bellavia, it will be 7th. Their latest outings at Croft, possibly not much of a warm-up for this event, but they were going well, just a single second back from Newbie. Fresh and brimming with confidence after a great 2018 season in the Asphalt Rally Championship, Wayne Sisson and Jamie Edwards would be expected to go well here. Most of those expectations on their own shoulders, and indeed, they do make a strong start as well in 8th place, 10 seconds back from Proctor. And speaking of the Asphalt Championship, Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark, indeed 2018 champions and multiple historic rally champions, will be out this weekend in the Fiesta S2000. They'd be struggling against the newer, more powerful machinery, but it wasn't stopping them from trying, as you might expect. So rounding out the top 10 of the leaderboard at this stage were Tom Preston and Carl Williamson. Tom, another Northwest driver looking to make his mark on the leaderboard on this new format, Legend Fire's Northwest stages. So much excitement from the local crews for this new closed road event. It doesn't stop with the top 10 though, of course. A look at some of the class battles now going on this weekend, and we'd see a return to the stages for the pairing of Darren Atkinson and Phil Sandham after their huge accident on Otterburn a few years previous. 5 years ago, it was a big one. The car has been rebuilt, improved, and clearly they hadn't lost any of their pace or nerve, leading the way in Class D, and as spectacular as always. Second in that class would be Ross Brusby and Sam Collis. A close shave with some sheep on the second stage of the day would give the pair a warning that things were not going to be all plain sailing this weekend. If we had time, we'd love to bring you Sam Collis' version of what those sheep looked like from the inside of the car and how exactly that went down. But as we don't, here's Class D's Peter Jackson and Chris Williams rounding out the top of the class. 23 seconds back from Brusby up ahead. The feeling in the car good. We would surely see them pushing to gain positions in the second running of these stages. The Class C battle would be close. Dave Harris and Rhys Edwards opening up a small but crucial at this stage 2-second lead after stage 4 in the Escort. And it would be the similar car of Ashley Hodge and Mark Twiname just behind them on the results. They'd be looking to push through the next stages to try and take that class lead, but it would take a push. Close, even at these early stages of the rally. And for Miles Gleave and James Chaplin, it will be third in the class. A little further back on the leaderboard, but still only 31 seconds back from the class lead. It might not look like it, but these conditions early on were tricky. Difficult to judge tyre choice, many getting it wrong. Some last-minute changes to the entry would see Angus Lowry and Paul Gribben now contesting the rally together in the Citroën C2. They lead the way in the class as well with a small, again, 2-second advantage. A spin on the third stage of the day would stop that lead being any bigger, but the potential was certainly there. The second of our former Works drivers, after Neil Simpson, of course, former British and even World Rally Championship driver Neil Weirden will be out with Callum Cross alongside this weekend in that newly acquired Hyundai i20 that you may remember from when Ollie Marrish brought it out in the forests in Top Gear magazine colours. They make a good start to the event, a few changes on the car since then as well, to be fighting for that Class B lead. And third in the class at this stage will be Des Campbell and Craig Forsyth, just 5 seconds further back on the leaderboard. Only 7 seconds separating the podium positions in the class at this stage, and still all to play for. In Class A, it would be Northwest Stages regulars Mark and Andrew Constantine leading the way. That advantage at the top of the class was a reasonable but not safe by any stretch of the imagination 17 seconds. But of course, that could fast turn to nothing on an event like this. Behind Constantine on the results was the Nova of Stephen Bethwaite and Anne Forster, second in the class. A bit of a bigger advantage in that position themselves, and that would be just over a minute to the 2:05 of Cameron Craig and Ewan Lees. Third in the class at this stage, but still pushing hard to try and get themselves further up that order. And they had another 8 stages to do just that. And frustratingly, it will be a time penalty keeping Steve Cotton and Adrian Lloyd down in 5th position in the class. On the stages though, the pair were getting every little last bit of speed that they could out of that little Toyota IQ. Probably the smallest car on the event this weekend. And to be honest with you, quite a few times, it was only on 3 wheels. The historic class may have only had a few crews out on the entry this weekend, but that wouldn't stop the competition being every bit as exciting as you would expect. Graham Butler and Chris O'Connor leading the way in the class at the end of the morning loop. Their advantage would be over the escort of Tim Metcalf and Chris Sharp-Simkis. Second in the class, fighting for that lead. That car sounds fantastic. And we love something a little more unique on the entry list. Third in the class would be the glorious looking and sounding Lotus Elan of Paul Mankin and Peter Scott. A little way off the lead, but still pushing that beautiful car over the Lancashire lanes. How good does that Lotus twin cam sound between the banks? So we are 4 stages down on this exciting new format, Legend Fire's Northwest stages. And it's advantage Taylor, but those behind were not letting him get away. He certainly wasn't going to have today easy, and nor would he have been expecting it. 8 stages to go. On to the next loop of stages then, and there would be no change at the top of our leaderboard. Peter Taylor and Andrew Roughhead continue to lead the way, the advantage growing ever so slightly now to 5 seconds. There would, however, be some notable changes. The first of those was to second place. Neil Simpson and Michael Gibson climbing up the leaderboard to not only get themselves onto the podium, but up as far as that second place, fighting for the lead with some good times in the Skoda. The first time this pair have been together since fighting for the British Rally Championship back in the Formula 2 days in the Works VW Golf. That move, of course, means that it's a move down from second to third for Alex Laughy and Stewart Loudon. Still on the pace, they were just 4 seconds back from Simpson, and with 4 more stages to go after service, they had the bit between their teeth. Paul McKinnon and Paul Beaton would gain a position in this loop, now sitting just outside our podium places in 4th. 19 seconds back from Laughy in their Fiesta WRC, which was, of course, a red rack to a bull. And indeed, things would be moving the right way as far as the leaderboard was concerned, and especially considering that competition and the machinery around them for Aaron Newbie and Andrew Leach. They step up a place into 5th now, themselves just 9 seconds back from McKinnon, 37 off the lead of the event, showing just how close it was on these closed Lancashire roads, 8 stages into the rally. Tom Preston and Carl Williamson gain a few places in this loop in the Skoda, climbing their way from 10th up to 6th. Closing in now on some of the crews up ahead, and if they kept up that pace, there was potential for more movement as well through the final stages of the event. Preston definitely on song through this mid-stage of the rally. Some of that movement on our leaderboard will be down to a drop down the results for Steve Simpson and Patrick Walsh. They unfortunately move out of their podium position and into 7th. Not ideal, but they were still in the mix, which is more than could be said for Kev Proctor and Dave Bellavia, who would crash out before passing any of our cameras in this loop. Legend Fire's event sponsor John Stone with Jack Morton alongside this weekend moved their way into the top of the results in this loop of stages now. 8th place overall. John perhaps back to his old ways of building the pace as the rally goes on. Whatever it was, they were doing what they needed to be doing to move the right way on that leaderboard. More notable attrition. We'd lose tarmac experts Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark with a misfire before they passed any of our cameras. So for now, it will be Wayne Sisson and Jamie Edwards in 9th. Sadly for them though, down a position on the overall results after those changes up ahead. We hadn't finished with those retirements just yet either. You might be wondering where Simon Bowen and Richard Robinson are. Well, the early rally leaders retired on stage 8 with clutch issues on the Subaru WRC. We'd also lose John Marshall and Scott Crawford. The pair had been running in 19th position overall at the time, retiring though in service with transmission problems in their Subaru. And so to update you, rounding out the top 10 now would be Darren Atkinson and Phil Sandon, the pair climbing the overall leaderboard, but there would, of course, be no change to their lead in Class D at this stage. Still hard charging and definitely back to their best after that accident last time out. Atkinson's lead in the class would still be over this pair, Ross Brusby and Sam Collis, ever entertaining in and out of the car. The advantage at the top, though, growing a little to 52 seconds. And there'd be no change to third place in the class either. Peter Jackson, Chris Williams keeping hold of that position going into the final stages of the event. Williams having to keep Pete under control. Too much sideways in these lanes wouldn't be good, and we know that Pete Jackson likes it sideways. In Class C, we'd see changes right through the podium places. Kev Dunn and Gary White now leading the way in the class, 35 seconds the advantage in that position. And that lead would be over this pair, John Deegan and Pauline Merrills, second in the class now after that shake-up and moving their way up the leaderboard from 6th place that they'd held this morning. For Martin Beach and Steve Hallmark, meanwhile, it will be third. They were just 18 seconds back from Deegan, so it could all change again in the final loop of the day. Things were seemingly quite settled in Class B. Not much change there. The lead of the class still in the hands of this man, Angus Lowry. Paul Gribben alongside in the C2. Their advantage had grown ever so slightly to 18 seconds now. And still behind Lowry on the leaderboard were Neil Weirden and Callum Cross. Getting to grips with the Hyundai now, second in the class, but they couldn't relax with only 15 seconds of an advantage in that position themselves, and that is hardly a buffer on a long rally like this. The change in that class would come in third place, now in the hands of David and Stephen Benson, the Civic pairing not only gaining a position, but also closing the gap to Weirden, if only by 2 seconds. In the Class A fight, though, we do see previous leaders Mark and Andrew Constantine retiring from the rally. Alternator failure in the 6th stage of the day, the reason they'd written down for that. So that, of course, would leave the top spot in the class open. And it would, of course, based on previous leaderboard positions, be Stephen Bethwaite and Anne Forster picking up the pieces to take that lead going into the final loop of the day. A big change in Class A then, which would see movement up the results for other crews. Cameron Craig and Ewan Lees included. They step up to take second in the class at this stage, but the gap to the lead wasn't something that they were going to catch on just stage times alone. They'd still be hunted down by Ben Jones and Alistair Dodd, although perhaps the word hunt was a bit of a stretch. Quite a bit of work to do if they wanted to change that position into second place. Without any problems, though, it looked like the class would remain like this to the finish, but we've jinxed it before. In the historics, there wouldn't be any change. Graham Butler and Chris O'Connor continue their lead of the class, actually putting an extra 10 seconds between them and second place in the process. And that, of course, meant that for this man, Tim Metcalf, with Chris Sharp-Simkis alongside, it would still be second. The pair just managing to make sure that that gap didn't get too much bigger over this loop of stages. And for Paul Mankin and Peter Scott in that crowd-pleasing Lotus, it would be third. The gap getting ever bigger, but the pair still going strong and still enjoying their time in the lanes. So we are 8 stages down. The Legend Fires Northwest stages proving to be every bit the epic masterpiece that we were expecting. 4 more to go, no change at the top, but that fight for the podium places was definitely on. On to the final stages of this Legend Fires Northwest stages then, and we do unfortunately lose Paul Mankin and Peter Scott. The Lotus pair not making it to the final stage of the day. So robbing us of that noise made by the Lotus twin cam, it would mean just 2 finishers in the historic class. and as expected of those, it will be second place for Tim Metcalf and Chris Sharp-Simkis. That, of course, means victory would go to event-long historic leaders Graham Butler and Chris O'Connor, just over a minute and a half's advantage by the end of the rally. It would end up being a good rally for Ben Jones and Alistair Dodd. They finished with third in Class A. A good, strong end to the day, not a mark on the car. Ahead of them in the class would be Cameron Craig and Ewan Lees. They keep hold of that second place to end the rally in the Peugeot 205. But taking the Class A victory this weekend would be Stephen Bethwaite and Anne Forster. After taking the lead in the middle of the day, they edge out a good advantage of over 3 minutes by the finish. Fair to say it had been a successful weekend for Joel Simpson and Bruce Lindsay. They massively improve on their seeding, catching cars in every single stage of the day to take 6th in Class B, as well as 53rd overall. There wouldn't be any change, meanwhile, to Class B. Third place in that class belonging to David and Stephen Benson in the Civic, just a minute separating the top of the class by the finish of the rally. Second in that class, and great to see him back out on the stages, Neil Weirden with Callum Cross alongside. The pair unable to catch our class leaders throughout the day, but putting up a good fight nonetheless. 53 seconds off the lead though by the end of the rally. So that meant it was the Class B victory this weekend for Angus Lowry and Paul Gribben. A good run without any major issues to report, which is more than could be said for some. The pair clearly trying out there on the stages and giving the spectators plenty to cheer about too on their way to the class win. And by the way, so many spectators out here today. It would be a trouble-filled final loop though for Anthony Harrison and Simon Barnes. A broken alternator in the final service meant a few push starts, but they do make it to the finish. 8th place in Class C in that road rally spec Escort. Quite some feat. The top of Class C would change a little, with David Greatrix and Ian Rees stepping up to take 3rd in that class by the end of the rally in that hard-charging Clio. That would, however, be the only change at this stage. John Deegan and Pauline Merrill's happy to take 2nd by the end of the rally, just 39 seconds back from the class lead. And that, of course, would mean class victory for Kev Dunn and Gary White. A strong end to a good rally for the pair, taking class victory in that Civic. In Class D, it was 3rd for Peter Jackson and Chris Williams. That result not without its issues though. A snapped manifold had been repaired in service, but it wouldn't last to the end of the rally, meaning a very tense run to the finish of the event. And for Ross Brusby and Sam Collis, it would be 2nd place. A great result for the pair to keep hold of that position throughout the day and keep our leaders honest. And I suppose more importantly, no sheep were harmed in the making of this result. But taking the Class D victory with Darren Atkinson and Phil Sandham. A great comeback event in the Escort for the pair, who also round out our top 10 overall by the end of a superb rally. With limited time in the car, it would end up being a pretty strong result for Alan Kirkcaldy and Cameron Fair. A small spin in Wheaton would lose them a little time, but they'd be happy nonetheless with 12th on the leaderboard. Our event sponsor, John Stone, Jack Morton alongside, were just lucky to get to the end of the rally, visiting a ditch in the final loop of stages, struggling to get out of it again as well. They do finally make it to the finish though, and with a fairly strong, given the problems, 11th place overall. For Gordon Morrison and Callum McPherson, it would be 9th, gaining a few positions through the afternoon to jump from 11th to 9th place. Wayne Sisson and Jamie Edwards, another pair on the move. They step up to take 8th place at the finish after a good clean run in the Evo. And for Tom Preston and Carl Williamson, it will be 7th. The Skoda pair reaching the end of the rally with a good, strong result, just over a minute and a half off our rally lead. We didn't quite see the heroics that we were hoping to from Steve Simpson and Patrick Walsh. They couldn't quite get that time gained back, but they do settle for 6th place this weekend. Win number 7 would have to wait another year for the Fiesta pair. For the 2017 Legend Fires Northwest Stages winner Aaron Newbie, with Andrew Leach alongside for this event, it would end up being 5th place. A strong run for the pair, only beaten by R5 and WRC machinery, something that they would be pretty proud with at the finish, and rightly so. No change through the final loop for Paul McKinnon and Paul Beaton. They stay out of trouble and keep up the pace to take 4th place at the end of the rally. Just 36 seconds off the podium positions up ahead, and possibly wondering what might have been. On to those all-important podium positions then, and there would be change up ahead. We see Neil Simpson and Michael Gibson ending the rally with 3rd. A strong end for the Skoda pair, if a little disappointing. The times, though, couldn't be any closer, and I mean that. In fact, Simpson and Gibson end on exactly the same time overall as Alex Laughy and Stewart Loudon. Dead level on time at the end of the rally, Laughy taking that 2nd place on a stage 1 tiebreak. And if you thought that was close, there was relief on the top step of the podium as well. Of course, victory this weekend then going to Peter Taylor and Andrew Roughhead. The Fiesta pairing keeping hold of that lead that they gained early on in the rally to end the day, but only, get this, by 5 seconds at the end of 12 long stages, showing just how competitive this rally had been right through the day. It has been a long yet monumental day for British rallying. A lot of excitement and relief on this podium. Before we chat to our winner, here's confirmation of that finish here at the Legend Fires Northwest Stages 2019.
Peter, well, what a day to come out on top. The first UK closed road for the Northwest Stages, and here you are among this competition.
Yeah, it really didn't feel like it was going to be going that way at midpoint today. We got a bit of a lead going on this morning, and then we didn't get any quicker and everyone else did, so they started chipping into the lead that we had. And then in second service we had 9 seconds, which was the same as the first service, and then, well, Neil and Alex just turned it on and dug deep on the second to last stage, and it was enough just to get it 4 seconds, I think. So absolutely delighted.
At times we thought it was going to come down to a tiebreak, and it wasn't far off, was it?
No, well, it just about is, because they're joined on first and second. So no, I've never had as hard a fought battle in a rally in 10 years now. So
Yeah, word for the organisers, because that was one heck of a rally they put on today.
Yeah, the organisers, Legend Fires, mainly for, well, everything, going around the schools, dragging everybody into Garstang last night, from Garstang being as good as it was to the stages being what they were to this 5 seconds between 3 people. Does it get any better than that?
Alex, what a fight to have been a part of. You started the day on top, and you've just been in that fight all day.
Yeah, it's been tough. What a set of stages though they put on here. The rally's just been amazing. We were pushing as hard as we could on those closed road stages where we knew sort of what we were doing a bit better, and then Wheaton wasn't really our best place to go, and I've never been a fan of it the last few times we've done it. So, but the closed road stages they put on have been amazing, and we've pushed it every inch of the road we could. So,
and to nick that second place back in the last loop, you know, the fight continued right to the end, didn't it?
oh my God, yeah, I was pushing after the first stage of that loop. It all got closed right down to like a second or something, and then it was just a fight the whole way through. Couldn't call it at all.
Well, at one point, actually, not at just one point, in a few points nearly, it looked like it was yours to take, but what a fight.
Hey, what a fight, wasn't it? And what a fantastic event. I mean, look at the support, look at the people that are here. The battle was great. Any one of us could have won it. It didn't go our way today, but we're delighted to be third. I mean, we've been rallying together we haven't rallied together for 20 years, and we did professionally, and then to come back here and finish on the podium is just phenomenal.
We saw how hard you were pushing in that final loop. We were in stage 9 with the uphill section. You were all on the absolute limits of that road. You were almost in the undergrowth trying to get every extra second, and it was just 1 second in it.
That was literally it. Coming out of every stage was, we were changing the leaderboard between the 3 of us all afternoon, and it was literally a second here and a second there, nip and tuck. pressure was on, but it's been superb. That's what rallying's all about, isn't it?
Congratulations. I know through Simpson Skoda you are a big supporter of this event, and to be such a big part of the story this year must feel pretty good.
Feels fantastic. Roll on next year.
John, you've been a supporter of this event since 2003 and beyond as a competitor, but as Legend Fires, you first had a conversation about closed roads back then 16 years ago. Today must feel pretty special.
Yeah, I do. I actually do remember the conversation. Sat in a pub, ready for the promenade stages, and two blokes came up to me and said, "Oi, do you fancy sponsoring an event?" And it's gone from there. We have a great relationship, Dave, Reed, and I, and all the team. Myrescore College have come on board this year and just moved it up another level, and it's just fantastic. Fantastic.
The start in Garstang, everyone was talking about. I've seen the photos, I didn't make it in time, but it just looked fabulous. And then today, everyone's gone from talking about how great that was to how great this battle.
It was brilliant. I'm just a little bit disappointed that we weren't able to join it, but that's the way it goes sometimes. I'm so pleased to finish, and it's great seeing Legend Fires all over Lancashire, and it's great.
That top 10 finish, though, at the end of the day is, on a day like today, when you have had the problems that you've had, to be here, as you say, as the event sponsor, and the car with all the same name on the side of it that everyone's seen all day is a good thing.
Brilliant. Really, really good day. I just want to go home now.
Well, after an intense battle over 12 stages, 50 competitive stage miles on the closed roads of the northwest of England, that is your rally winner, Peter Taylor, Andrew Roughhead, and there were swapping times and positions right through the rally, but particularly through that last loop. You saw how hard they were pushing. They were really all on it. They all wanted to take the top spot this weekend, but what a leaderboard we've got for you at the end of the 2019 Legend Fires Northwest stages. As a package, the whole rally has worked so well. Congratulations to the organisers, to the army of over 600 marshals and volunteers who have helped to put this on, to the local residents, to the local councils, to the sponsors, to everyone who's been involved in one of the biggest shows this year in British rallying.
Care 40 for Raidable Crest Titans.